The DevOps engineer of 2027 is going to look completely different. Not because Kubernetes is disappearing, not because Terraform is dead, and obviously not because AI is going to replace every DevOps engineer. Actually, I think something much more interesting is happening. Instead of spending hours writing YAML, searching through Kubernetes logs, or building every Terraform module manually, AI is increasingly doing the first part for you. And DevOps engineers will increasingly manage something completely new: AI agents, models, GPUs, AI infrastructure. So if you're learning DevOps, here's the good news. I think roughly 70% of what you're learning still matters, but the other 30%, that is where the best opportunities could be. And in this video, I'll show you exactly what I would learn to become a DevOps engineer in 2027. DevOps isn't dying, just that the workload is changing. Look what happened over the last 20 years. We went from physical servers to virtual machines, to the cloud, to containers, to Kubernetes. Every generation increased automation. Every time, people predicted infrastructure engineers would become less important or obsolete. Instead, one engineer became capable of managing more infrastructure. AI could be the next step. But there is another shift happening at the same time. We're moving from managing only microservices to increasingly managing AI workloads. Traditionally, you might deploy a 200 megabyte container running an API. You monitor CPU, memory, latency, requests per second, then you auto-scale. Now, you're deploying AI models, right? Suddenly, you might have 50 gigabyte model weight, GPU nodes, vector databases, embedding pipelines, model servers, agent workflows, inference latency, token consumptions, and completely different scaling requirements. You're still deploying, you're still monitoring, still securing production. The DevOps principles haven't changed, but the workload has. So here are the 70% that still matters. This is where I think people are making a huge mistake. They see AI generating Kubernetes manifest and think, why should I learn Kubernetes? Because somebody still needs to know whether that manifest is correct. Imagine AI generates your Terraform in 20 seconds. Great. Except it hallucinates, accidentally expose your Kubernetes API to the internet. Who's responsible? The AI? No, you are, because you're the engineer. You're creating infrastructure. And infrastructure has one important difference from something like content generation. Blog posts that are 70% correct can still be edited. Terraform that is 70% correct might not deploy. Kubernetes YAML that is 70% correct might mean your pod don't start. CI/CD pipeline that is 70% correct might simply fail. So I think the job changes from writing everything manually to generating, reviewing, testing, securing, approving. And here's the paradox. AI could actually make DevOps fundamentals stronger. AI could actually make strong DevOps fundamentals more valuable because you cannot review infrastructure you don't understand. So you don't skip Linux, you don't skip networking, don't skip Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, cloud, CI/CD, observability, security. Those are still your foundation. Then you add AI on top. From DevOps automation to agentic DevOps. This is where things become very interesting. DevOps has always been about automation. CI/CD automated software delivery, Terraform automated infrastructure provisioning, Kubernetes automated orchestration. AI introduces another layer, intelligent automation. So now let's go through a scenario. Imagine it's like 3:07 a.m. and alert fires. Today you might open Grafana, check Prometheus, find the Kubernetes logs, look at the traces, check the last deployment and all that. Then you open GitHub and then eventually discover the problem. Now imagine this instead. The alert fires, an AI agent automatically checks the metrics, reads the pod logs, checks the traces, looks at the last deployment, compares the Git changes, searches previous incidents, and sends you likely root cause, memory exhaustion introduced by deployment 1842. Affected service payment API, suggested actions, roll back to version 4.18.2. Now you're not starting the incident investigation from zero. AI has already done the first 20 minutes of investigation. And this is one of the areas where I think AI can have massive impact in DevOps, reducing MTTR. AI-assisted observability and incident investigation, but notice something. I suggested action, not let the AI have cluster admin access and hope for the best. Guardrails become core DevOps skill. The DevOps engineer of 2027 may spend less time telling systems exactly what to do and more time defining what AI is allowed to do. Right? Maybe your incident agents can read logs, query Prometheus, inspect Git commit, change documentation, but it cannot delete a deployment. It cannot change IAM, right? It cannot touch production without approval. That's where Guardrails becomes extremely important. Start AI automation with something narrow and low risk, then expand. Don't go all out. This is exactly how we adopted Kubernetes. We started with smaller workloads and then, no one sensibly migrated 500 production applications on day one to Kubernetes. You started small, you tested, you learned, you expanded. AI should be treated the same way. And this brings us to a technology DevOps engineers should start understanding. MCP, Model Context Protocol, an AI model doesn't automatically understand infrastructure. It doesn't know your Kubernetes clusters, your AWS accounts, your Git repositories, your Terraform standards, your internal documentation, or your security policies. It needs context. MCP can give AI systems a standardized way to connect with external tools and data. So instead of asking ChatGPT, how do I troubleshoot this Kubernetes problem, an AI agent could potentially interact with the tools containing information about that environment. And suddenly your jobs becomes partly about deciding what can this agent see, what tools can it use, what actions can it execute, and what requires human approval. That's a very different types of DevOps engineering. DevOps engineers will operate AI too, but there is another side to this. We are talking about using AI to do DevOps. What about using DevOps to run AI? Every company building AI products eventually faces the same problem. Someone has to deploy the models. Someone has to build the infrastructure. Someone has to monitor them, scale them, secure them, control their cost. That's where DevOps, platform, and SRE engineers become extremely useful. And I will add 4 areas to your roadmap. First, GPU infrastructure. You don't need to become a hardware engineer, but understand concepts like GPU utilization, GPU scheduling, inference throughput, and cost. Because expensive GPUs sitting idle can become huge infrastructure bills. We all know how crazy AWS and other cloud services provider bills can get. Second, MLOps. Think about MLOps as like applying many DevOps principles to models. Instead of code build, staging, production, you may have data, training, evaluation, model registry, deployment, monitoring. Same philosophy, different artifacts. Third, data and RAG. So first of all, learn the basics of data pipelines, embeddings, vector databases, and RAG, which is called retrieval-augmented generation. Because AI agents becomes much more useful when they can access your company's internal documentation, run books, incident history. Then fourth, a programming language called Python. You don't need to become a machine learning researcher, but you need to understand enough Python to work with APIs, automation scripts, and AI tools. The DevOps engineer of the future may increasingly work with Bash plus Python plus natural language. Just as the same way, if you're working in the Kubernetes space and building cloud-native tools, right, it's encouraged to learn the Go programming language or Rust in certain cases. So AI security could become the new DevSecOps. 10 years ago, many DevOps engineers would have said, security isn't my job. Then DevSecOps happened. Now imagine companies deploying hundreds of AI agents. Someone needs to ask, can this agent access production? Can it expose secrets? Can someone manipulate it through prompt injection? Can it modify infrastructure? Can it access customer data? Are its actions logged, right, for audit logs? Does it follow the principle of least privileges? Those sound suspiciously like DevSecOps problems. I think AI guardrails and agent security could become another extension of the DevOps role, just as security became one before it. Now, what should you actually learn? So if I'm preparing for DevOps in 2027, I wouldn't abandon the traditional roadmap. I would upgrade it. So foundations, obviously, Linux, networking, Git, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, CI/CD, observability, security, then add an AI layer to it. AI-assisted observability, MLOps, GPU infrastructure, AI security and guardrails. But don't try to learn every new AI framework. The tools will change, the concepts matter more, because the fundamental questions remain. How do I deploy this? How do I scale it? How do I secure it? How do I observe it? How do I automate it? And what happens when it breaks? Those are still DevOps problems. 3 projects I will build now. And instead of simply writing AI on resume, build something. Project 1, AI Incident Investigator. Build an application on Kubernetes, add Prometheus and Grafana. Create an AI agent that reads logs, metrics, recent deployments, and runbooks. Then have it suggest probable root cause of an incident. So keep it read-only, not that it has access to make changes to the infrastructure after it got the probable root cause. Now you've combined Kubernetes, observability, SRE plus AI. So project 2 that I will consider building, AI infrastructure reviewer. Create a GitHub repository containing Terraform Kubernetes manifest. When someone uploads a pull request, have AI review it for security issues, right? Misconfiguration, infrastructure best practices, then post recommendations in the PR. That's AI plus Terraform plus Kubernetes plus CI/CD plus DevSecOps. Project 3, production AI platform. So take an open source model, containerize it, deploy it, add Kubernetes, observability, CI/CD, infrastructure as code, and if possible, GPU support. Now, instead of telling recruiter, oh, I'm learning MLOps, you can say, here's this platform I built, here's the platform I built. That's a huge difference, and that differentiates you from the regular person applying for a job, and that gives you so much fundamental understanding for real-world issues, even as you contribute to open source. The DevOps engineer of 2027. So will AI replace DevOps engineers? I think we're asking the wrong question. The better question is, what happens when one DevOps engineer can manage 10 times more infrastructure because AI agents are working alongside them? We've seen these patterns before. Virtualization increased what engineers could manage. Cloud increased it. Containers increased it. Kubernetes increased it. AI would increase it again. I think it looks more like this. DevOps engineers equals AI-augmented platform engineers. Someone who understands infrastructure deeply, but can also operate AI workloads, orchestrate agents, manage GPUs, and automate much more complex infrastructure. And I would say, ironically, the faster AI can generate infrastructure, the more important it becomes to have someone who understands whether that infrastructure is actually correct. AI can generate 500 lines of Terraform in less than a second, but someone still needs to answer, should we deploy this? And that is the DevOps engineer of 2027. So don't throw away your DevOps roadmap, upgrade it. Master the fundamentals, then add AI, build in now. Because by the time these skills appear everywhere in DevOps job description, you don't want to be building your first AI infrastructure project. You want to be the engineer who's already been doing it. And now I want to know, which DevOps stacks would you trust an AI agent with today? Writing Terraform, debugging Kubernetes, investigating incidents, or absolutely nothing in production? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe, because I'm going much deeper into AI agents, Kubernetes, MLOps, and AI infrastructure. I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much.